Peace and blessings, and welcome to Varnishing our baby Kato. He looks gorgeous. He's already been sealed and texture applied on his portion of his head and face. He looks really, really nice. And his legs, his limbs as well, have been textured and sealed. Now, when I was applying the texture and sealing him, I went a little bit heavy on sealing him. So in some places, the sealing is a little bit thick, which is fine. He has nice texture. This paint should not peel at all because it's nice and sealed nicely. However, in some places, he may appear to have a little bit of dry skin, which, is normal for some babies. And I'm okay with that. It wasn't exactly what I was striving for. However, this is what we have, and it's a learning experience. He is my third reborn that I have reborned myself. So I am pleased. It is a learning process. I'm only 2.5 months old doing this. And even if you've been reborning for years and have done many, many dolls, there's always something to learn, something different that may go on that you can learn and continue with. Anything that happens, you can take it as a learning process, a teaching moment, and you can make what might appear to be an imperfection into something that is desired. Like I said, he will have what appears to be a little bit of dry skin here and there on his limbs and on his forehead. And we know that babies, oftentimes, they do have a little bit of dry skin. So we're okay with this. We're very much okay with our baby Kato. He is so handsome. I love that the coloring on his head goes so well with, his limbs, and the color of his ears, around his ears, his mid face, that brightness in his mid face, those lips. Oh, he is just the most handsome. He is just so, so handsome. I must make another Kato. I must make another Kato. He is just so beautiful. He is a handsome baby, just a handsome baby. Can you tell that I'm partial? He is so handsome. Here we have with us our beautiful Lillian. Our beautiful Lillian is my second doll that I reborn myself. She has this beautiful skin tone as well, a little bit lighter than Kato. She has that beautiful, beautiful highlight in the middle of her face. She has some nice skin texture as well. Her coloring is just it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. I rooted her myself with mono rooting. I used human Jerry curl hair in the color honey blonde. I rooted her with the same hair on her eyebrows and her eyelashes. I rooted her, pardon me, I pierced her ears myself as well. Um, she is very, very posable. She is floppy, but not too floppy because she is 21 inches. So she is the size of maybe like a 1 to 3 month baby. She has on 0 to 3 month clothes right now. And what I'm doing with my dolls that I am making, I am, when I'm stuffing them, I am giving them what appears or feels like a spine. That's something that I worked out to kind of figure out how to do it. So I enjoy it. And those who have held the babies, they say that it feels very real. So I like that a lot. She is just so adorable, just so adorable, just so adorable. So we are going to get to varnishing our baby Kato. Now, what I use to varnish is the Liquitex, okay, acrylic medium, and this is matte gel, okay, this is matte. Now, that will, of course, give a little bit of a matteness to um, the doll, and I mix it with this Deco Art Americana Dura Clear satin varnish. And both of these dry clear. Now, the reason that I use both of these is so that Kato will have what feels like and looks like real human skin, real baby skin. So it won't be ultra matte and it won't be ultra shiny. It will be somewhere betwixt and between there, in between there. Now, what I have is I already have some that I mixed and I use equal portions of both of them. Okay. Now, since his skin looks like it might be a little bit dry, I'm going to try something. And that's the thing with art and reboarding is that you're trying different things here and there to kind of see how it works out. So, what I am going to do to kind of maybe balance out a little bit of the dry skin, I'm going to put a little bit more of this satin varnish. Okay. And both of these do help with UV light. They help to protect the baby from UV light. Okay. Now, we do not want to have our babies out in the sun without any protection, the same way you would not have a real baby outside without any protection. But our dolls, we want to be certain that they are protected as best as they can be. So these are products that have that UV protection in them. And it makes them feel very, very nice. Very, very nice. If your doll is in the sun, what will happen is their skin can fade. They can become the skin can become a bit lighter, and their hair can become a little bit lighter. It will kind of bleach. The sun will kind of bleach it a little bit. So using these products help to avoid that. And the way you care for your dolls also will help to avoid that. So what I am doing is this, the Liquitex, it's rather creamy. Okay, so it's rather creamy. Now the satin varnish that I use is more of a liquid. It's more of a liquid. So, I am shaking it up. And as I said, what I did before with, I have this left over from my other dolls. I mixed equal amounts of the Liquitex and the satin. But because his skin is a little bit dry looking, I'm going to just add a pinch more of the satin varnish. How much? I don't know. I am experimenting. This is art, and reborning is a lot of experimenting, tweaking. Anything that happens, you can use it as a a learning opportunity. You can use it to tweak something. You can make it work to your advantage. And oftentimes, what we might consider is something slightly what we did not anticipate can make the baby seem even more real. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to mix a little bit. I'm going to just kind of go over, make sure that he doesn't have anything on his limbs that should not be there. Okay, his limbs look really, really good. So what I'm going to do is I use these sponges. These are not the Swispers because we're going to be pouncing out the varnish. And the Swisper sponges are very nice to create skin texture, and that's beautiful. However, because we did this other type of skin texture, we don't have to waste those Whisper sponges that are a little bit more expensive. We can use these sponges, or I should say makeup wedges, and I've dipped them in distilled water, squeezed them out so they are just a little bit moist, not wet, just a little bit moist. And that will allow me to be able to pounce and get into different places. I will be using these two brushes. Okay, this is what is this, 1 inch, I believe it is, and this is a smaller brush. So this will go over the the kit itself, and this will kind of do a little bit of fine tuning. And I think I probably should have some um, toothpicks as well, just in case to get into some different areas on him, in between the fingers and the toes. Okay, so what I'm going to do, so as I don't make a mess, I'm going to move his limbs over here. I'm going to kind of shift things slightly around, and I'm going to just mix a little bit of the satin varnish, and then we will be well on our way with varnishing our baby Kato. What do you think about that, Lillian? Yes, I think that's good. Okay, so we're going to shake this up, and we're going to be careful not to get it on Lillian, or although if it did go on Lillian, it's okay because it's varnish, so it won't hurt her. She's already sealed, and varnish won't do anything but, you know, um, varnish her out. Now I'm just going to put a little bit in here. Like I said, I don't know how much I'm going to use. I used equal portions of the Liquitex and the satin varnish before, um, but I think I want to have a little bit more of the satin. The consistency again is creamy. It's creamy because of the Liquitex. The satin, again, is liquid, as you could see. It drips out kind of almost like the consistency of milk. So I'm putting that in. I don't want a shiny baby, but I do want him to have, what appears to be nice skin. So I'm going to mix this well in, mix it all nice and good. And on the off chance that he comes out a little shinier than I would like, it's not a big deal. I can go over him with a slightly different consistency to have him a little bit more matte if he comes out too shiny. I don't think he will, but just in case if he did. So I'm going to just take my towel rack, put his head on it. So this way I will be able to dry him um, safely. I will be able to dry him safely. Okay. Now, because I intend to root him, I'm not going to go over his head where I plan to root, okay? And that's just fine because his paint is already sealed. Excuse me, his paint is already dried on him. So it shouldn't, nothing should happen to it, especially since he will be covered, it will be covered with some hair. I did go around the base and all around here, and that's the same thing that I'm going to do with the varnish. I'm going to try not to go too thick. So I'm going to go around the same areas. I really do hope that you are enjoying the series. And remember that although this goes on white, it does dry clear. And it doesn't take long to dry at all. It doesn't take long. It dries pretty much in minutes, really. By the time you finish doing the head and all of the limbs, it's dry where you can then go back over it if you choose to. Now I'm going all over him with this, like I said, except for where I intend to root. I'm only putting a small amount on, and I want to get inside the nose to make sure. I also want to get inside his ears, around the back of the ears, all of these places. We want to be sure that we get on him and under just everywhere. Everywhere we want to get, except for where we intend to root his hair. We want to get in the crevices, under the chin, just everywhere. And then we will pounce it out. We don't want to have anything caked up in the creases, okay, because that would not look good. We just want to make sure that we cover the entire head. Now we can go over it with a second coat if we want to, which would be fine. We went over and when we did the texture and the sealing, we went over it twice. So he has that on twice. And then now we're doing the varnish. So if we want to varnish him twice, we can do that as well. Making sure that I get behind the ears really well. Also in the ears, all over, everywhere. Just get everywhere. Okay. Now what I want to do, I want to make certain that I go around his creases, make sure that there is nothing in the creases that shouldn't be. Nothing in there that shouldn't be. So I'm going to make sure that I'm cleaning his nose out. Okay, around his nose. I need to actually go inside this area, the crease around his nose. I need to do that as well, just to be sure. So I'm going in with the smaller brush. And I'm going to pounce out because I really don't want it. I don't want it to dry quite like this. But if it does, it's okay. It's going to be clear. It will be clear. I want him to be, and it's going to dry clear even though he looks like he's turning white. He will dry clear. This will dry clear. Okay. A little bit of water, just a little bit of the distilled water that I can kind of pounce out a little bit more on here. Okay. The distilled water does not hurt anything at all. It just allows me to kind of be able to pounce a little bit on here. just to be able to pounce. Now I made sure to go around the back of his ears, under his ears, and we went everywhere on the kit. So I want to make certain that the sides of his mouth, I see a little bit of what appears to be some buildup there from this varnish. So I want to get that out. Okay, his creases, they all look good. The ears, everywhere it looks good. And again, like I said, we can do another layer. I went around his neck. Again, like I said, I went everywhere except for where he's going to have hair. He looks a little bit scary, like he has on pancake makeup, but he's going to dry clear. Remember when we did the ceiling, he turned a white color as well. So we're going to go everywhere on the kit. We're going to go around on his hands. We want to get inside. Okay, this is going to give a little bit, like I said, it's just going to make it look even more like skin so that it's not so matte, that it has a little bit of shine to it, and that will give it a nice look. And we are going in the hands, the feet, especially the toes and the nose. You know, these are areas that you really want to make sure that you are paying a lot of attention to varnishing, because these are areas that have a potential of having rubs, or a potential of possible peeling, because these are the areas that are handled more when you are changing the doll, um, handling the doll. These are areas that get a little bit more um, handling. So I want to make sure I don't have too much on. I don't want it building up anywhere. So I'm going in sections so it doesn't dry on me. And I'm counting out again as per usual. And this again gives, will help to maintain, you know, that skin texture feel that we had already applied. And we are not going to go over the nails with the sponge, because we want the nails to be what? To continue to be smooth so that they don't feel bumpy, because that would not, feel nice. So I'm just wiping the nails, and I'm getting off any excess. Just getting off any excess. Again, this dries clear, but we don't want any excess anywhere. And have a little bit of hair there. Okay. Off, that looked like it was a little bit of hair. Okay. So we are still waiting for our baby Kato's hair to come. And once it comes, I'm hoping to be able to root on camera. Rooting, it depends how you look at it, if it's difficult or easy. It depends on how you look at it. I find that just trying to make sure that the head is in the correct position so that I am rooting in the direction that the hair should go according to how I map the hair. So that's something that, is important. However, I will cover that a little bit more if I do it on camera, which I probably will. I probably will. Um, Again, I'm going across our baby Kato's arms, going in sections. So, yeah. And then we're going to go over our baby. We're going to continue with our baby Lillian. Not Lillian, I'm sorry, our baby Honey. Honey is a 20-inch open eye doll. You can see her over here in the background. Um, Over here, you can see her limbs. And she's patiently waiting. She's patiently waiting for her turn in the spotlight. We want to make sure that we get everywhere on the kit, on his arms. We're counting out. And if we see that there's any thing that is pulling up from the off the sponge, we have to make sure that if there are any particles that come off the sponge that end up on the kit, we don't want that to be embedded in the varnish because you won't be able to get it out. So if we notice that there's anything, we have to make sure that we take it out now because otherwise you won't be able to get it out. I see what appears to be hair. Okay, so take that off. I see. Okay. Anything that looks like it should not be. Again, I'm going in the creases. Okay. Looks good, looks good, looks good. Looks good. So everywhere we're going on our baby Kato. Again, like I said, I go in sections so that I can spread it evenly and try to maintain it thin and be able to pounce it out. So, yeah. Just going over, making sure that our baby is nicely varnished. And once this dries, we can then go over with the shiny, the other type of varnish that will give a bit more shine to the lips and the nails. Now, we don't want him to look as though he has on lip gloss, so we're not going to make his lips very shiny, but the lips will have that bit of moist appearance, along with his nails having a bit of a shine, because we know that when we look at our own nails in comparison to our hands, our nails do have a little bit of a shine. So that's something that we will do as well. That's something that we will do as well. Just making sure, again, the creases are nice and clean. We don't have any buildup. And this skin texture really looks nice. Really looks nice. Let's see if you can see it. See, looks like real skin. I'm just getting off whatever little particles that might be here. Um, cleaning out all of the creases. So our baby Kato is nearly done. Nearly done. So again, I'm going to go over his palms with this smaller brush, his palms and fingers with the smaller brush so that I can get in all of the nooks and crannies so that our baby has a nice even varnish on him. And he will be lifelike. Some people like their baby dolls to be completely matte, and that's fine. And some like them to have a little bit more shine, and that's fine. And some like them somewhere in between. That's what I like. I like them somewhere in between. Um, kind of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Just right. Somewhere in the middle. I don't even know if children know that story. There's so many other stories that are out, now. So I don't even know if children even know some of those nursery rhymes, if they even know of those little stories like that some of us grew up on or some of us raised our children with. Um, okay, now we're going to pounce. And then I'm going to smooth out over the nails with the brush because we want, again, the nails to be smooth. Pouncing with this, again, gives a little bit of, texture. Not much, but it does give a little bit of texture. And it gives that skin texture to the palm of the hands. I'm going to go across the nails to make sure that they are smooth. And I don't see any buildup anywhere. Just going to go through the creases, make sure that they are good. Make sure that they are good. And I'm pleased with this, the way this is looking. Okay. One of the things when you are using the brush, if you go across the creases in the direction that they go, you can get the paint, the varnish, whatever you're using to go directly in there so that that area is also protected. Okay. Um, so that's one way, that and then you can clean it up with the toothpick to get out any excess, but you do want some in there because you don't want it to peel and you want it to have that protection from the sun also, that UV protection. Out. Okay. Hmm. It doesn't actually take that long to varnish. You just want to be certain again that you're getting in every nook and cranny and that you're pouncing out, because you did all of that hard work with the paint, trying to get the colors, the skin tone, all of that, getting the creases to look just right. And, you did all of that hard work to make a beautiful baby. So you want to make sure that the doll will be protected, so that all of your hard work will be protected. And these are some of the things that we do. Now, some of the lines, they do come with um, their own sealant and things like that. Um, I use primarily Ultimate Fusion, their paints, and they do come with some. Um, their bottles are very, very small, and I've seen other artists use these products that I'm using, and you kind of get a little bit more bang for your buck. And these products are very good. They're used by many Reborn artists, and they work really well. They have been tried and true. They've been used for many years, and they hold up. That's one of the things you want to be certain that they hold. Whatever you're using holds up. Okay. And here I see a little bit. I want to just kind of moisten this sponge a little bit. And I want to go over one of the areas. One of the areas I thought I saw. I want to go over that area. And then I want to clean it out, clean this off a little bit. Looks like it might be a little bit thick. Okay. Now it's the same with the feet and the legs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do them off camera and come back. I think I may have found a nice technique to be able to varnish. I'm taking just a little bit on the brush and I'm just kind of wiping it like this, kind of thin and quick. So it seems like it might be working a little bit better than the way I did it previously, because then it's not as thick, and I'm finishing it quicker, and it's going in the creases, but not in an excessive manner. So I think this might be a, a nice way or a good way to be able to spread the varnish evenly and thinly, because I was thinking it's very important when you're painting that you use thin layers, right? So it doesn't look, um, goopy, right? So I was thinking that even with the varnish, maybe the same principle applies, even though we want it to be slightly thick so that there's protection. The same way when we paint, we do multiple layers to create realism. So maybe putting thin layers of the varnish, maybe one or two very thin layers, might seal well, also give an even nicer finish. Um, I don't know, maybe this might be something that others already are doing or know or something like that. But I just kind of thought about it while I was kind of going over this last limb. And yeah, so this is the last limb, all varnished. And our baby Kato, his head is drying. I see a little bit on the nail. Let me just clean that a little bit more so that there isn't any buildup there. Great. So our baby Kato, he's drying, as you can see. He's not as pale. Okay, the varnish is drying, so his skin tone is coming back. So what I will do is I'm going to pause and come back again. Okay, our baby Kato is nearly all the way dry. I am going to use this Eileen's paper glaze to give his lips, to add some details to on his lips and other areas. So the areas that I am putting this paper glaze are dry. Okay, I'm trying to squeeze it and haven't even taken the top off. Oh my. Um, Now some of the paint lines do come with something to give a little bit of a shine, and you might like that better. I like this. What I do is I take a little bit and I will go into the corners of his eyes. Okay, I just want to be certain that everything is nice. Yeah, everything is nicely clear. And you can see his skin looks very nice. It feels very nice. He's not too matte. He's not too shiny. I know the lighting, the sun has gone down, so the lighting um, is a little bit challenging. But you can see a little bit. Okay, he looks very nice, very nice. His head still has to dry a little bit, but that's okay. Where we're going to put the Eileen's paper glaze, we're not concerned with where it may not be completely dry. Oh, let me get one of my other brushes. Okay, I'm using this little brush and I just put some of the paper glaze in top. So yeah. So I'm just going to go the inner corners of his eyes. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit. The inner corner to give him that look. Just a little bit of moistness in there. Just a little bit. No, you may not be able to see it. It's a little bit of a shine. It's going to just look a little bit like his eyes are a little bit moist there. And after I root his eyes, lashes, I may go on the sides and put a little bit there. But I don't want to do it now because that would make it a little bit difficult, um, you know, rooting. I don't want to unnecessarily break needles. Now I'm going to go across his lips, not completely across all of his lip, but certain strategic places I'm going to put where I think I would like to see it that would make, um, his lips kind of pop. So I'm putting the Eileen's paper glaze kind of strategic areas on the lips so that it would give that bit of shine in different areas so that those areas kind of pop a little bit. Not a whole lot of shine, but just enough where, his lips will look nice, moist, and it will highlight some of that shape that's on his lips. Remember where we were trying to put the lighter color so that it would kind of stand out? That's where I put the Eileen's paper glaze. I put it here. Let's see. I put it, oops. I put it here, here, okay, here, and a little bit here, and a little bit here, so that those areas will have a little bit of a moist look. On the rest of his face, I don't think anywhere needs it. Like I said, I would put it on maybe a little bit on the corners of his eyes after, um, after I root him. Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to put a little bit in between where his lips separate. I'll try to see if I can get it in there nice and thin. Just kind of tap it in there, push it in. Yeah, there we go. And I like to also put just a tap in the corner of the mouth. I mean, it's not going to make him look as though he's drooling or anything. It's just going to give a nice moist look. You can see a little bit in the corners of the eyes, the inner corners of the eyes. You can see that shine a little bit. You can see a little bit of shine on his lips, a little bit. And I think those are the only places that need to have a little bit of shine on his face. Um, yeah, I think that's it. I think, yeah, I'm pleased with that. Now, what I will do is I'm going to go across his toes. Um, Now, the Eileen's paper glaze really gives a nice shine. What I am going to do is, rather than use the Eileen's paper glaze, I'm going to use the varnish that comes with Ultimate Fusion. That is the varnish that comes with their kit. I kind of changed my mind midstream. That's why I don't have it out. Um, let me pause for just, okay. So while his limbs are continuing to dry, I can place this gloss varnish, okay, on his nails. This will give a little bit of a shine, but not anything that's overly shiny. So it won't look as though, he's had, a manicure. I'm just going to drop just a small amount in here. Doesn't take that much. Very small amount. If I need more, I can, of course, add more. I cleaned out the Eileen's paper glaze, so there's none in there in here now. And I'm just going to slightly dab across here to give just a little bit of a shine on the nails. It's not going to be a whole lot of shine, just a little bit to make them look, so that they don't look matte, so that they have a slight bit of gloss to them. Okay. Let's see, can you see the shine? It's a little bit. And we're going to do that with all of the nails. And I would encourage you to continue watching. We will be rooting our baby Kato as soon as his hair arrives. It is going to be mohair. So when it arrives, I'm going to wash it and put a little bit of conditioner to it, let it dry, and then I can go ahead and once it's dry, I can root it. I will root his head first. Well, I'll map it out, and then I will root his head, and after that's all rooted, then I can go ahead and root his eyelashes and eyebrows. The interesting thing is I tried with my very first doll to kind of, draw the eyebrows on, and I had a hard time trying to get that, to make that happen. And I found it a little bit easier, believe it or not, to root the eyebrows. So I rooted them. And with my first doll, they came out, okay. With Lillian, my second doll, I think they came out, better. So we have now glossed with Eileen's paper glaze the inside corners of our Kato's eyes. We have glossed his lips in very strategic places. You can see a little bit of shine. And we've glossed a slight bit in the inner corners of his mouth. We've glossed all of his nails with the gloss varnish that comes with Ultimate Fusion, because this gloss varnish is not as shiny as the Eileen's paper glaze. Eileen's paper glaze does have a lot of nice shine on it. So one of the other things that we will be doing is I will go ahead around the rims, okay, the flange. I don't use the rims and the plugs that you can order. I've seen some of the other artists use top coat, which will help you go on the very inside here, okay, with top coat, and it will allow the head to turn once it's on the body. The main thing is it has to dry. You have to have it dry. Um, so after I root his head, I will do that on his, on his the flange part of his neck, because when I'm rooting, I use the heat lamp, and the heat lamp would then melt the nail polish, or some of the artists they use the Eileen's paper glaze. So yes, that's something that is also used in Reborn. Okay, here is some inexpensive top coat, regular nail polish top coat, um, and I'm going to go around just the rims, the inner portion in here, this part, because this is where the cable tie goes. So we want to make sure that it turns smoothly. So what I will do is I will go across it with two coats. So even though the nails may not be, although they may not be dry, it's okay because we're not touching them. This, excuse me. Now, if you want to use the rings and the plugs, you can definitely use those. Um, it's just it's an expense that you don't have to incur if you don't want to. Because if you do use them and you put them on the doll and you or someone else would like to re-weight them, or something like that, you would have to cut them off. So that's something to take into consideration. What I generally do is I'll put two or three coats on, and the arms, the limbs will turn nicely on the body, very nicely. So now you can use the Eileen's paper glaze for that because it doesn't take that much to use, to use on, to do this. It really doesn't. And this is actually pennies to do this. This is really pennies. And it almost doesn't matter which brand you use. I know there's a artist who has been reborning for many years. Actually, she also does prototypes. Emily of Eborns, and I was watching her, and she was saying, you can use the LA girls or LA colors top coat and to do this. So um, I didn't have LA girls, but I just had some of this kind of lying around, and um, I said, okay, let me try that. Because normally, what I do for myself is I make press on nails, and I did upload some shorts about that. And, so with the press ons, I use high quality gel polish and, um, you know, high quality top coat, gel top coats, and, so that's what I normally use when I'm creating my original designs of the press on nails. So that concludes today what we will be doing with our baby Kato. I would encourage you to like, comment, subscribe, and share. I will do a second coat, possibly a third coat of the top coat once it dries. I'll do that off camera. I encourage you to, again, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe and come back soon. Our Lillian is saying, see you later. Kato is so sleepy. He's saying, I just want to take a nap. Peace and blessings.